You guys come in on a holiday, but standard normal for us. It's kind of nice to get into a game week where it's actually a game week where Sunday's a Sunday, Monday's a Monday, Tuesday's a Tuesday. So our kids were locked in yesterday, got good work. From our point of view, we're actually healthier for this game than we were last week, except for obviously Ryan Poley. Other than that, our guys have been a little bit better. Full go, being able to practice. There were a number of guys last week that we held out going into that game. Got a little bit of work in right before, but hadn't really had the 10 days prior that I was really hoping for. So there were some bumps in the road, but I thought our guys handled the game very, very well. We rewarded and moved on last Friday from that game. I thought to have 27, I think there was 27 guys that took their first reps of college football to play 8 true freshmen, which is a pretty large number for me. And then several junior, I think there were 4 junior college players that took their first reps here overall. So there was a lot of guys taking reps for the first time to get out of there with only a couple penalties. Really, the only miscue in the kicking game, we had one guy, Colton Jackson, didn't get out there for the PAT field goal, and that always seems to happen with one guy at the beginning of the year. So really just to have that one miscue was very positive. I thought overall they ran to the ball extremely well on defense, played pretty smart, kept the ball in front of them, leveraged and tackled well offensively. After the first 10 plays of the game, really, I thought efficiently handled things pretty well, blocked things up front, had some movement early on that cost us an issue, and some stuff that can easily get corrected. So with that, we'll move into our preparation. Got a tremendous opponent in TCU. Got 4 of their 5 guys up front on offense are seniors, played a lot of football, senior quarterback, senior running back, senior tight end, 3 senior wide receivers, just a lot of talent on offense. Obviously, they're very, very talented, very, very fast, very athletic. Did a lot of good things in their game on Saturday. Defensively, they're, as always, very well coached, stay square to line of scrimmage. They run extremely well, got players all over the place that may not be multiple-year starters, but have had a lot of experience, and especially in the back end, where they're very, very confident in the way they play and how they run to the football. Got, in my opinion, probably one of the best return guys in Turpin that we've faced even in my time here overall in the SEC. I just think a really, really dynamic player that's very, very tough to game plan around, and we have to be aware of him in the kicking game at all times. So we have our work cut out for us, but should be a live crowd here. I'd really encourage everybody to get here. 2:30 atmosphere should be absolutely awesome. I think the stadium, with it being enclosed, even though it's not fully finished, has made a significant change in the volume, even with the small crowd that we've had in there. So should be a sellout by Saturday, and really think it should be a very, very loud environment. This is a team that communicates a lot at the line of scrimmage offensively, so the more volume we can bring to the fight would be better for all of us involved, and obviously to make for a great home crowd environment. So other than that, we'll open up for questions.
Secondary, just kind of what do you do with Foley out?
Yeah, well, kind of a little combination. We'll obviously, K. Rich has played corner as well. Cameron Curl, I thought going into last week's game, obviously you couldn't foreshadow anything like this, but we were really, really excited about Cameron Curl, Brito, and Shevin Callaway. And obviously they got a lot more reps. One of the blindside good things was obviously he got hurt in the first half, so we got a lot of reps of those other corners, and it'll be who starts on Saturday. Will be a lot based on how they handle the week and see who that is on Saturday, but it'll probably be one of those 3 players in that spot, and just kind of see where it goes.
What is Philly's prognosis timeline?
He hadn't even had surgery yet. Wanted to get his parents in town, so until they get in there and kind of see exactly what structurally has to take place, we won't know. But it's significant time this year, and obviously he's got a redshirt year available.
How come is it losing him? It's second straight year, first game defensive back with a pick.
It's football. It's football. It's football. We've seen guys this year already with knees, guys already with shoulders. The game is a violent sport, and at any given time, anybody can be lost. It's just one of those things, next man up, and an opportunity to move forward.
Any concerns if you do move Kevin Richards in the back? Is that pretty shuffle, nickel?
If we move Kevin Richards, it might be a concern, but I don't think that'll be the main way to solve the new transition. Again, it'll be from those 3 corners I mentioned.
With Turpin and that new kid that had Snell,
yeah,
they're kind of short but fast. What element is there of getting lost behind linemen that plays into this game?
You know, their plays are a lot on the perimeter, but on the same account, they are shorter by nature. I think the first time that I really experienced that was when I was at K-State. We were defending Jason Sproul during, scrimmages and whatnot, and all of a sudden he kind of pops out from behind a tackle. So I think when you have a smaller back or a smaller offensive player in nature, that does get, but they're just really gifted. You saw the one play where Snell came all the way across the green and just extremely shifty, gifted, can make you look silly in a short amount of time. The things that we did last week well, we have to do this week. We have to obviously contain leverages, we have to tackle well in space, and not have missed tackles.
Is TCU kind of what, their offense, is that kind of what got you thinking about the 3-4 last year? How can it possibly
I wouldn't say there's any one offense that made me start thinking about. I think the 3-4 fit what we can do better. But on the same account, one of the advantages, I think, without a doubt, to the 3-4 is being able to hopefully line up more efficiently in a shorter amount of time, be able to get more athletes on the field on their feet, and be able to be diverse when the ball's snapped.
Brett, it looks like the way you do things with going in the nickel a lot too, Ramsey's, the hog, I guess mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Those seem like very different spots when we saw Saturday. Just let's talk about his, playing all the different roles.
You mean for him personally, or?
For Randy, it seems like he's, the razor and one, and then the hog.
Yeah, when we go to the nickel package, I guess he in this game you saw him at a certain spot. I think the part that Randy brings to the table is he's very, very powerful. He's a natural pass rusher, whether it be to the boundary or to the field or even inside as well. I just think he's a very talented athlete that we're going to try to maximize the reps we can get on him. And I tell you that the nicest surprise, in my opinion, to fall camp has been the play of Dwayne Eugene. Those two complement each other very, very well and kind of feed off each other. We'll use Dwayne in the same role that we'd use Randy in nickel situations when one of those guys is off the field.
How did Clary and Gibson do?
Clary was from the first snap. We ran a little ISO play right behind Ty, and guy tried to come across his face. He just buried him down, walled him off. A pretty routine play, but it's not always routine for a newcomer, especially the first snap of the game. Just handled everything very, very well. Had minimal, I believe, only two maybe mental errors or bust on the entire day. Played extremely hard. Was on his feet all day. Really never lost. I don't think he ever lost in the moment. I don't think the game got too big for him, and that's going to be huge, obviously, this week in our preparation.
Does that do where Brian Wallace was just too inconsistent in camp?
Brian came in and played really well. I think the part that was really the best part of the day is when we did start subbing in some of those two offensive linemen. All of them played really well. Brian Wallace, Jalen Merrick played really well. Paul Ramirez, Zach Rogers, Jake Rollerson. Several of those guys played well, which gives us a little bit more flexibility going into this week. But, yeah, we tried to get our best on the field, and really, as Jeremy got more and more reps, as Ty got more and more reps, he just looked like a natural to be at that spot, and haven't seen anything look back since.
Gibson still would be the right tackle again this week.
Right now we'll start that way unless something changes during the course of the week, but Johnny played really well at right tackle, had been doing okay at guard, but just seems a little more at home at tackle. And again, those two guys, Ty and Johnny, were, as is the case a lot of times, you get them on campus, they're just more athletic than you thought they were during the recruiting process. Very, very intelligent and diligent guys that it means a lot to play for Arkansas.
You really pounded on the A-gap. Was that a big part of the game plan for the season, for the year?
Well, I think the part that you could see early on, from my point of view as a head coach, they were not going to let the ball go outside, right? So, whatever they take away, you got to be able to adapt and move forward. Some of our first perimeter plays, you could tell they were just racing up the field, so that obviously opens up things inside and vice versa.
You guys did really good play.
What's up?
Fullback play, particularly.
Yeah, really.
Inside.
I think that was another good, as we got through fall camp, you realize that Hayden had made a really big jump. Not that Kendrick hadn't, but those two together form a really nice duo. We did it on Saturday where, okay, this series was going to be Kendrick, the next series was Hayden, and vice versa, but both of them, I think both of them played with great base. They showed good power. When Tom Tom's talking about hammering up in the A-gap, some of our ISO plays, those tight A-gap, B-gap plays, those were a lot of one-on-one blocks with a linebacker and a fullback, and they just handled it very, very well, and they're big guys that got power.
I know you've talked a lot about how much you enjoy when you have three backs like you have right now. How good do you feel coming out of last week, and then also any changes you see in the field based on rotation based on what we saw?
You know, Devois played well. I don't see any thing that's going to change him out of that spot. He probably has got the best understanding and also did some nice things in blitz pickup. David, again, I think we listed those three, 1, 2, and then 3. But David, for the first time playing in our offense, I thought did extremely well. Even that first touchdown, just great patience watching. The offense he came out of wasn't anywhere close to what our offense is as far as what they ask a running back to do. You know, reads, reactions, tempo. So I thought he handled that very, very well. And then he, as you can see, he's got great hands. He's got good vision, ability to make plays. And then Chase Hayden, as much as you may not believe it, I don't think he was even close to what he has shown us at times. He was, I think, even self-admitted a little bit, you know, taken back for that first half for sure, and then kind of settled down into it. I think that's why I kept playing him a little bit more. I just thought he needed more and more reps to get used to game speed and really like where it is. And then T.J. Hammonds, you know, we rolled in there a little bit, but it was just also just a matter of, you know, those three guys, and T.J. will play in that role in certain capacity, but also I want to shore up our wide receiver position, and I thought Jonathan Nance came in, did some things. We already know Jay Red can do it. I thought Deion Stewart did some nice things. Jordan Jones, LaMichael, you'd like to see him make that catch, you know, and play a little more consistency. I think Brandon Martin is feeling better now. He was really limited up to about 2 or 3 days out from the game, so to get him more reps now, in addition to Davion Warren and Gerard Barnes, I mean, there's a host of guys there that we're trying to get reps and get out there, but I think T.J. Hammonds could be one of our top 3 wide receivers as well if he gets the reps.
Jared up to playing a lot more this week.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to go much past halftime with him. Just, you know, he was, you know, him and there were a couple other guys that will rename nameless, faceless, didn't have a lot of reps going into that game playing with the one. So I knew that first quarter was going to be a little bit of some bumps in the road while we got it going, and I thought it was handled very, very well. They responded. I thought the play that Austin made on that 3rd and 4 just kind of was vintage Austin. That kind of rallied them all and said, okay, now we know what we're doing and let's roll. So I really liked the fact we had some bumps. You didn't like to live through them, but the way we persevered and responded was really good.
Patterson's only had 3 losing seasons there in like 15 years going into this year, and they've always bounced back after losing season with like a 10 or 12 win season. Kind of they got a lot of stars back. What do you expect from them?
You said Patterson? Yeah.
They always bounce back after. So.
You know, since I've been in this game, even before I came to this league, you know, Gary's got a tremendous reputation for obviously what he's built there at TCU, what it is. Just sit down and watch the film of the game Saturday night. It's everything you'd expect. He's got playmakers on offense. Defensively, they play his scheme very, very well. They're very smart. They're very well coached. My guess is they're going to win a lot of games. This is a big matchup just because of the non-conference deal, and for them to come to our stadium today, this weekend, I want to make this our type of game, you know, SEC type game, and an Arkansas game here at home, and see what happens. But yeah, I think injuries, you know, and then last year there was you know, our game was obviously a nail biter, and we came out on top, but there's a lot of close games last year. So everybody that's I think in that program probably heard it all winter, heard it all spring, just like we did, and are going to come out ready to play.
I'm not sure if you guys do many passes over 15, 20 yards. Is that kind of by design, or how that play?
Well, I think there was a lot that we didn't do. You know, offense, defense. We didn't bring a lot of variation on defense. We were just playing sound fundamental football. Wanted to keep doing that offensively. Didn't really feel the need to do anything more than our first down, second down, and then react to that third down play as they happen. But the thing I've really been encouraged with is, you know, the ability of last year when we wanted to take it a little bit deep, or even the last 2 years. You kind of knew who those guys were and how to defend them. You know, now we have, in my opinion, Jordan Jones, Jay Red when he's back healthy, which will be this week, Gerard Barnes, T.J. Hammonds, and really to a certain degree Jonathan Nance, guys that are very good at vertical routes. That it's going to be that in combination with a run and play action game should be tough to defend.
Austin, his numbers were, completion-wise were good. Didn't throw for a lot of yards. He said he was a little rusty first game. I just think he played. What kind of jump do you expect?
Yeah, I think, what was he, 17 or whatever it was, and then he had
14 and 19.
and then had 2 drop passes, so I mean, he could have had a very impressive day, but that's just standard Austin. He's going to always compete against himself. He's never going to be satisfied. I thought what he did, even for himself, we hadn't hit him since last year, so he hasn't been hit since the Virginia Tech game either. We don't hit our quarterbacks at practice, so I think that third down play, that 3rd and 4 is where he all of a sudden was up in the pocket, had to turn around, and he got chased from inside out, and then also was in a scramble play. I think that kind of woke him up. I'm like, all right, now this is what I do. This is how I do it. He did get hit, I believe, 5 times, 6 times. There was 2 that were protection breakdowns, and then 2 where they brought some pressures that we hadn't worked and weren't able to get a guy totally in front of him. He didn't take any huge hits, but we definitely don't want him to be on the ground at all. Any hit that he takes, we don't want.
So it's Josh Pollard. Anything on him? I haven't heard anything about him since preseason. And Alexi, is there a situation where he had a chance to work with him?
Josh Paul is here on campus. He just redshirted. There's nothing unusual about him. Alexi isn't totally cleared yet. We could have. What I did on Saturday is I took a group. I think there was 21 players that had eligibility to so they're eligible to play without penalty. So we took a busload of those guys over, 21 guys on Thursday. They dressed up, suited, and played in the game. There are no restrictions when we're out of conference. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the SEC, this is the only league that I've ever been in that does that, only allows you to dress 80 for SEC games, so it's very restrictive in the ability to play kids that are involved in the program. So I wanted to take full advantage if we had a chance to play some guys, and we were able to do that with a number of guys getting their first reps. But Alexi was not cleared, so that's why I didn't take him over on Saturday.
You said pause, but is he practicing? Because you said in preseason he wasn't. He wasn't on the 105.
Josh Paul was not in 105, but yeah, he's practicing. He's on. Yep. As soon as school started, he was with us. He did not play, but he took the trip, and he's right on the verge. Again, had a really good fall camp, then kind of was slowed by an injury. Came back, and we're just we got multiple guys playing, and Cortland's a very talented. The one thing about Cortland is this: he's never played wideout full time. So he's beginning to learn the details of that. Even though he's naturally gifted, he's a playmaker, athletic, big, can run. He listens to everything. He's doing everything right. I just think when you start looking at the guys that we have with Jay Red, with Deion Stewart, with Jordan Jones, with Michael Petway, with the new additions of the 2 junior college players, Jonathan Nance and Brandon Martin, and then you throw in the 2 other freshmen, Davion Warren and Gerard Barnes. It's just hard to get him out there and say that he's that much significantly better than those other guys to make him play now versus potentially what he could be 3 or 4 years from now.
Your thoughts on Kenny Hill and how you play Hill?
As we saw last year, he's very athletic, probably a better on the move out of the pocket, throws a very accurate ball when he's on the move and to both sides, right and left. Looks like he has tremendous presence, a better understanding of what the coaches are asking him to do between plays. He really seems to be in control, so a dynamic player that we got to keep in the pocket and hopefully try to impose our will.
I guess Patrick's finding notes here say that you're 4-1 against Big 12 teams since you got here. Is that something you take a lot of pride in? Or?
I didn't even know it existed. Good job, Patrick. I didn't. Wouldn't be able to recite them. No, I didn't. I'm excited to play non-conference big time. And TCU is as good as it gets. There's a team that was on the verge of everything just a couple of years ago, and these games are scheduled so far in advance. This one was on the docket, I believe, before I got here. To get them to come to our place, it just seems like all these games we always play at the other guy's place first. So I'm excited to get them to return here, and I think our kids are very excited. And I really mean it. I hope this crowd. I know they will. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and 2:30 kickoff, CBS, and the feature game of the day on that. It's just a fun time to be here.
I guess we're going to find out on this tour, but what is that north end zone going to look like?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been meetings on that during the spring, but I mean, I know what it's going to kind of look like, but I just go over there every time and just kind of. Now, I will say this: I think people are going to be amazed, even though it's not finished, it's enclosed, and I think it's a really when we're in there with just music and a smaller crowd, it's definitely resonating on the field a lot louder than I've ever heard it. So you'll literally, for the first time for anybody that's ever been to the stadium, it's going to be an enclosed stadium, and we're getting a new locker room out of the deal, which is absolutely lights out. The renderings of that are off the charts. We'll be able to use that huge in recruiting. The other people that have gotten a hold of some of those nice suites, I mean, those are big time suites, as well as all the other ones they built in down there. So it should just overall enhance and help the program.
What's your more side play? Your Colton Jackson, your pro.
Yeah, just going from left to right, Colton, I think had some, even though he started 2 games last year, I think he had a really good fall camp, and I think just the speed of the game got him on a first 4th and 1. There was a guy took an inside move. Now he had the same move again later on and blocked it up no problem. There was a third, actually on Austin's interception, he got beat around the edge. So we just talking about straining and finishing and doing the things you need to do. You can't just stop, and he's a very willing soul, very athletic, and I think going to see a big jump from game 1 to game 2 with him. Yelder for Holt, I believe, graded out the highest of all of our linemen. I nominated him for SEC Lineman of the Week. He's really taken a huge step in his not only his ability and skills, but also just his football IQ. He's a lot smarter than he was a year ago. You're coming around the edge and maybe you're a puller and you realize you got to tempo yourself. You got to keep your pads down. It sounds easy, but you're just excited to usually get to point B, and you tend to rise your pad level. He's able to stay down. His pass pro was really, really, really significantly better. And then Frank played solid. And then we already talked about Ty. And at right tackle, I thought Johnny Gibson did some good things, but Brian Wallace came in there, and he's definitely getting 1 reps this week as well. So we have a little bit more depth at that line position, more than we ever have.
Brett, I meant to follow up with you on this after the game, but everybody's got their superstitions. I always figured one of yours was the windbreaker.
Yeah.
Why exactly did you ditch it? Is it gone for good?
You know what? Technically, it kind of was a windbreaker, I guess. It wasn't just the material that everybody wanted, I guess. There was a white one, a red one, and that one looked like the coolest. I hadn't seen them. I always say, surprise me on game day. I don't really go in there with an idea of what I'm going to wear. It just kind of happened. So I don't know what's going to happen this week.
Has it been a superstition of yours to wear anything?
It had. I'll definitely have something with long sleeves. I don't think you ever see me sleeveless. That was the only time I ever really remember is when I wore a golf shirt. We got our business handed to us, and I'm fairly sure it was because it was sleeveless. But we'll see.
All right, thanks, guys. You said you switched sides on the bus?
I did switch sides, yeah.
Which side did you sit?
I sat behind the bus driver now, mainly because there was more room.
So you're on the left or the right?
I'm on the left side.
Hey, Brett, if y'all need...